What's up, guys? It's Brittany, and welcome to another episode of Randomness. You ever have that moment where you sit back and think, wait, haven't I been here before? Like, not literally, not the same place, not the same person, but the same feeling. That gut deep sense of, oh no, here we go again. Maybe it's another one-sided friendship. Maybe it's another relationship that drains you dry. Maybe it's another situation where you end up the helper, the fixer, the peacemaker, even when you swore you wouldn't do it again. And you start realizing it's not just them, it's a pattern. And patterns don't just appear out of nowhere. They are learned. Most of us learned our patterns way before we even had the language for them. We learned them from watching how love worked or didn't around us. We learned that love sometimes meant walking on eggshells, that affection could disappear if we said the wrong thing, that we had to earn peace or shrink ourselves to be safe. So we grow up chasing the familiar, not because we like the pain, but because it feels comfortable. And the brain loves comfort, even when that comfort is chaos. And here's the wild part. Your subconscious doesn't care if something is good for you. It only cares if it is familiar. So if your nervous system grew up on emotional roller coasters, calm will probably feel pretty boring to you. If you grew up fixing broken people, healthy love will feel unnatural. And if you grew up having to earn love, unconditional love might feel suspicious. That's how deep these patterns run. They become the blueprint for how we connect, how we cope, how we survive. But at some point, survival starts feeling like self-destruction. And that's the breaking point. That's where real change begins. The moment you stop saying, why me? And you start asking, what is this trying to teach me? Because every toxic pattern is a teacher in disguise. It's the universe holding up a mirror saying, hey, you can keep choosing this, or you can finally choose you. And breaking cycles, it doesn't happen overnight. It's messy. It's lonely sometimes. It's choosing not to text back, even when your heart wants the closure. It's setting a boundary and feeling guilty as hell about it, but holding it anyway. It's realizing that peace feels weird because you've never had it before. You know, it's not glamorous healing. It's quiet, gritty, daily work. And there's part of you that will fight it because the old version of you, the one who tolerated too much, the one who called chaos connection, she doesn't go quietly. She'll whisper things like, maybe it wasn't that bad, or maybe they'll change this time. But you've got to recognize that voice for what it is. It's an echo of your past. And you can love her, you can honor her, but you can't keep letting her drive. At some point, you've got to stop chasing closure and start giving yourself peace. You stop trying to fix people and start fixing your own boundaries. Start fixing yourself. You stop begging people to choose you and start realizing that you never needed to prove your worth to begin with. That's when you start breaking the cycle, when you stop reacting out of pain and you start responding from power. Cycles only repeat when we refuse to evolve. They lose power the moment we see them clearly. And that's when you reclaim your narrative, when you stop being the person things happen to and start being the one who chooses differently. Maybe you are taught that love is sacrifice. Maybe you are taught that staying loyal means ignoring your own intuition. Maybe you were taught that leaving is betrayal. But listen, sometimes leaving is the healing. Sometimes peace is the bravest thing you can choose. Breaking the cycle, it means walking away from people who still live in the chaos you're trying to escape, even though it will probably hurt. It means outgrowing the version of yourself who was addicted to struggle. It means learning that you can love people deeply and still say, not this time. But you know what? Here's what's beautiful about all of it. The more you break those cycles, the lighter life gets. You start noticing red flags sooner. You start attracting calmer energy. You start trusting yourself again because you're not reacting from wounds anymore. You're responding from wisdom. And you realize the pattern was never punishment. It was your wake up call. It was your reminder that you were never meant to live in survival mode forever. If you're in the middle of breaking your own cycle right now, I just want to say this, okay? I know it's hard. I know it feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but you're doing the best you can. You're rewriting patterns in generations before you couldn't. You're choosing differently, and that matters. Breaking the cycle isn't about changing who you are. It's about finally remembering who you were before that pattern began. Okay, so let's say you've walked away, you've stopped the cycle. You're finally free, and somehow that feels strange. Healing after breaking toxic patterns isn't all sunshine and rainbows. It's awkward, emotional, and sometimes it can be unbearably quiet. So let's talk about what it really feels like to rebuild your peace, reconnect with your true self, and trust calm after a lifetime of chaos. There's this moment no one warns you about, the moment after you finally walk away, after the chaos, after the heartbreak, after the big emotional mic drop where you finally say enough. And that's when things get weirdly quiet. And if you've spent most of your life stuck in toxic cycles, always managing, fixing, pleasing, or surviving, that quiet, it doesn't feel peaceful at first. It feels empty and lonely, like you're standing in a room where the noise used to be, wondering what to do with that silence. And that's kind of what healing actually looks like. It's not some highlight reel of self-care routines and inspirational quotes. It's messy, confusing, and deeply uncomfortable because for the first time, you're not reacting. You're just being. And that can be terrifying when you've built your identity around chaos. After breaking the cycle, your brain still looks for familiar danger. It tries to find a problem to solve, a person to fix, a battle to fight, but there isn't one anymore. So it thinks, something's wrong, but nothing is wrong. You're just not used to peace yet. And that's the real work, learning to trust calm. Healing means you start catching yourself mid-spiral, thinking, wait, I don't have to do this anymore. And you start noticing that not every silence means rejection. Not every calm moment is the calm before the storm. Sometimes it's just calm. And that's where the rebuilding begins. You start to see who you are without the pattern, without the people who fed on your energy, without the chaos you thought you needed to feel alive. And that's when something incredible happens. You start feeling your own energy again. The version of you that was buried under survival mode, it starts to surface. She's softer but stronger. She's wiser but lighter. She doesn't need to prove her worth. She just knows it. And you start making choices that align with peace, not fear. You stop needing closure from people who never gave you honesty. You stop begging for validation from people who wouldn't recognize your growth if it hit them in the face. You just let go. And letting go, it doesn't mean forgetting, it means remembering differently. You stop replaying what broke you and you start appreciating what it taught you. And healing is slow, and that's okay. Some days you'll feel like you're thriving, other days you'll feel like you're unraveling all over again. But, that's your nervous system learning that it's safe now. It's learning that love can be calm, that stability isn't a trap, that peace isn't punishment, it's home. And yeah, you'll still miss the people who hurt you sometimes. That doesn't mean you want them back. It means you're human. But the longer you stay grounded in your peace, the less those memories sting. They become chapters, not chains. And you'll reach a point where you can think about it, all of it, and just feel gratitude. And not for what they did, but for what it showed you, for how it woke you up. And you'll start seeing yourself not as broken, but as rebuilt. That's the beautiful irony of healing. It's not about becoming something new. It's about returning to the version of you who existed before you learned to doubt your own worth. So if you are in that quiet space right now, that uncomfortable calm after chaos, don't rush it. That's your soul breathing again. That's your body learning peace. That's your life finally catching up to the healing that you prayed for. Let it be slow and let it be sacred. If it feels awkward, that means you're in unfamiliar territory, and that's a good sign. It means the old pattern isn't in control anymore. All right, guys, stay curious, stay grounded, and remember, breaking the cycle isn't about changing who you are. It's about finally remembering who you were before the pattern began. All right, y'all, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure to hit that follow button and share Randomness with a friend, and I'll talk to you guys later.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.